Ian here from RTO, and welcome to a very special retro ranking. It is in tribute of Iain Lancaster, who sadly passed away on Sunday, founder of the band Status Quo. Iain Lancaster, what a man, what a bass player. Iain Lancaster was born Alan Charles Lancaster, 7th of February 1949. He met Francis Rossi at school, and they formed a band called the Spectres, who went on to be called Traffic Jan, and then eventually Status Quo. Over the years, Alan wrote some great songs, but he didn't write the singles. He wrote a lot of the studio stuff. I think he's credited to co-writing 2 singles. That's Break the Rules and Roll Over Lay Down. The only one that he wrote, well, he co-wrote this one, but with a guy called Keith Lamb. He wrote a few songs with, and that was Old Rag Blues. He recorded it with him singing, and I've got a version of it, but the final one was done by Francis. I think it sort of caused a little bit of oojamatiddle, and that's what sort of, I think, was the beginning of the end. I think the relationship was a pretty tattered by then anyway, and Alan never liked Margarita Time, didn't think it was a Quo song, and I totally agree with him. So what I've done today, I have picked my top 10 songs written or co-written by Iain Lancaster, and we've got a few honourable mentions because the list is endless. So today, this is my favourite tracks by Alan. If you've got your favourite tracks, or you put your top 10 in the comments below. So let's get cracking. Okay, my number 10. It's here just for a nostalgic reason. It's Your Kind of Love, off the Back to Back album from 1983. And he co-wrote this with a guy called Fergus Skinner. This is the last track that Alan really contributed to in Status Quo. It's got a great thumping bass line, nice lyrics. It's a really nice song. I wouldn't say it's his best, but I've put it in at number 10 because it's a very special one, because it was the last contribution he gave to Status Quo as a writer, and it is a great little song. Okay, my number 9 comes from the Whatever You Want album of 1979. He co-wrote this with the 5th or the 6th member of Status Quo, Bob Young, and it's High Flyer. Great track, great little rocker. Singing duties are shared between Francis and Alan. It's got a nice little guitar solo from Francis on this. It's pretty good song. Really like this song. Okay, my number 8 is from the Rockin' All Over the World album, solely written by Alan, sang by Alan. Let's Ride. Definitely one of the better tracks off this album. Got a nice little rhythm from Rick, quite funky. Some great drumming from John. It is one of the better out songs off this very poorly produced album. But the John Eden remix of this is pretty good, so that's the version I've put in the playlist. All these top 10 are in the playlist. So I'll put the better version in of that. Okay, number 7 for me is a track from 1975's On the Level, solely written by Alan, Broken Man. Grindy little rock track this is. Got a great bass line in, of course. It's really good solid rock song and I love it to bits. Number 6 is off the album 1982 that came out in 1982. Big Man, co-wrote with a guy called Mick Green. One of Alan's finest. It's the best track from side 2 of the album. It's a great song. His vocal in this is just spot on. I love this song. Okay, number 5. From 1981 off the Never Too Late album, Mountain Lady. It's one of the songs that Alan wrote but didn't sing. Francis is on vocals on this, and it's a pretty good song. Different arrangement, quite upbeat, quite rocky. Really cool track. My number 4, we're going way back now, back to 1971. Someone's Learning off the Dog of Two Head. Totally written by Alan. Francis does the singing on it. It's an early classic to me. That driving bass line, and then they go into that little jam, and it's a great track. I found a live version. I put a live version on. There's no pictures to it, but it's just a live version of it in the playlist. It's great. Okay, my number 3. It's one of the all-time deep cut tracks from Quo. From 1973 off the Hello album, Softer Rider. This is one he co-wrote with Mr. Parfit. It is a great song, and Francis obviously sings the vocal on it, but it's a proper Rick and Alan track, gutsy rocker. I've put a live version in the playlist, and at Glastonbury it's probably one of the better versions. Couldn't find one with Alan playing on it, of course, but it's truly a great song, and I remember seeing this when they did it live, and I'd never heard this live, and I loved it. I mean, I love this track anyway, so it was a pleasure. Okay, my number 2. Well, it's 2 songs actually, but I couldn't. It's like fish and chips, you can't leave them off. 1974 from my favourite album, of course, the Quo album. Another great track written by Alan and Rick. It's Backwater, Just Take Me. Awesome track. Great, the first bit, great guitar, great chugging song. Goes straight into Just Take Me. John Coughlin's drumming on it. He's absolutely out of the top drawer. In the playlist though, I put the version from the reunion, because I think it's not the best version. The best version obviously is from the Glasgow Apollo, but for nostalgic reasons it was the Frantic Four, and that's why I put that in, because it's a great version of that. Nice to see Alan reunion with the boys. So my number 1. First time I heard this, it blew my socks off. 1980, Just Supposing, and it's the brilliant Over the Edge. This is his greatest track, his greatest vocal performance in Status Quo, and it live, it's unreal. I saw that him perform this at De Montfort Hall and at Milton Keynes. The best version of this is actually on the NEC, but I couldn't find a decent enough clip of this, so I've put the Milton Keynes version on. But Alan is on fire in the live version of this. It's just brilliant. It's got a great keyboard piece from Andy Bowen, and the vocals, the backing vocals from Francis and Rick, it's done like in a round, as we know, and it sounds terrific. And I love this track, and I've loved this track from day one. Remember first getting this, and it blew my hat off. Absolutely top drawer stuff. Brilliant song, and he wrote that with Keith Lamb. Fantastic track. Okay, that's my top 10, but I have got a few honourable mentions that I just couldn't leave off. First one is from If You Can't Stand the Heat, 1978, Stones. It's just a very quirky little song. It's a shame that the production on it is pretty naff, but it's got a great guitar solo from Francis. I would love to see someone remix that album, because there are some good songs on it. Get rid of the brass, get rid of the horrible backing vocals, and just have it as a pure rock track, and Stones would be a great track. Okay, my next honourable mention is from the 1982 album, purely written by Alan, sang by Alan, I Love Rock and Roll. I love this. Great little track, and I love how he incorporates names to some great rock and roll songs. It's Bye Bye Johnny, I'm All Shook Up, Be-Bop-A-Lula, Around the Clock. Fantastic. And he even gets the classic I Love Rock and Roll. It's a great track. One of the better tracks off that album. In fact, Alan's tracks are the best tracks on that album. My next little honourable mention, again from the Just Supposing album, 1980, another track that Alan wrote that Francis sang, The Wild Ones. Great track, great guitar solo, really, really good. My next honourable mention, probably one of the heaviest tracks I've ever done, written by Alan Lancaster. Brilliant, Don't Think It Matters. Great heavy track, great guitar solo in that one, and it opens up side 2, great stuff. And my final one, title track from the 1976 album Blue For You. Blue For You is a great little blues number. It's got great bass line and a little bit of blues. It's a fantastic track, love it to bits. So that's my favourite Alan tracks. I'd love to hear yours and see what you've put up. I was lucky, I never saw them on the reunion tour, just couldn't get tickets, but I saw him with the band twice on the End of the Road tour. The best gig was the one at Leicester de Montfort. It was hot, sweaty, and it was great. When he sang Roadhouse Blues, it was just amazing. Again, Over the Edge was brilliant. All the songs Alan sung, he sang from his heart, and he really enjoyed it. I mean, I have got video of the reunion. As much as he looked poorly, he was enjoying himself, and I've seen clips of him at the conventions, and he was never forgotten. And I think he had a rough deal, and I'm a big Quo fan. I think he had a rough deal because they should never parted company. I think the management wanted to pull Quo one way, and Alan just stuck his boots down. I mean, you can understand why. He formed this band. It was his baby, and it was being taken in a direction that he didn't want to do. He didn't want to do Margarita Time. I can understand why. I know we've mentioned it, but it's not the best track in the world. Okay, I hope you enjoyed my little tribute to Mr. Lancaster. It's sad when you lose people from your favourite band. That's two of the great ones gone, Mr. Parfitt and Mr. Lancaster. Unsung heroes of British rock. Okay, that's all for today, folks. Tomorrow is Then and Now. Got an interesting one tomorrow, Bon Jovi. And then we're going to be looking at some Marillion studio album covers that in the Steve Hogarth era. So that's all to come tomorrow, plus the update. I've already worked out next week's schedule. That's sitting ready to go, so you will find that one out tomorrow as well. Have a great evening, and I will see you all tomorrow.